I warned you! I warned you! I warned you! I warned you! Warned you. I warned you guys yesterday. Hey, I don't mean to be silly. I don't mean to be silly. I'm trying to entertain you guys too. Trying to have fun as I always do. But all kidding aside, we talked about this yesterday in the mutterings about the clues. Market's always leaving clues. It's like a trail of breadcrumbs everywhere. It's always telling you ahead of time what it wants to do. And the people that stay here and make money are not the ones that use the hindsight indicators. You go back and you look at that stuff, it's easy. You gotta be able to feel the market, to read the market, to understand the market. This is why we always talk about holy grail systems and why they don't work, because there isn't a shortcut. And this goes to all you people out there that are struggling and wondering, hey, how long does it take for me to make it? Do I have what it takes to make it? Or somebody that's new on, should I buy this system because this person's telling me I'm going to get rich and stuff, right? No, that's not how it works. It's all about what we preach here all the time, screen time. You got to sit there and look at this. That's why it helps to be part of the community, because you got to be there. You got to see it. You got to feel it. You got to listen. Listen. I know it's hard for us guys to do that just in general. You got to listen to the market. I hear you, market. You tell that market, market, I hear you. Talk to me. Talk to me like we're lovers, market. Let me hear your sorrows, your joys. Tell me your emotions, market, please. And then you react. That's how you do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little about what I was building on what I said yesterday, leaving a clue. So we saw this massive flush yesterday. Today, they tried to sneak it out with a little bounce. Then, man, just lights out. Lights out today. Of course, a lot of this had to do with Powell. He didn't do anything. Old Jay Powell didn't do anything to, feel the love. Let's just stay with the love thing. He didn't do anything to calm the world. In fact, he made it worse. Said we were all doomed. Had everybody running to the store buying freeze-dried food, canned goods, and backpacks. I mean, just got ugly. But here's what we're going to talk about today. Is this the start of something bigger? Or is this just another buying opportunity? We're going to talk about that. So you know what we're going to do now? We're going to move over here to where the magic happens. Sorry, to where the magic happens. I'm just throwing it on thick today, Throwing it on thick. Because it's hump day. It's hump day, and I'm trying to get over it too, just like you guys. So let's move over here real quick. Okay. All right. Here I am. I'm in my chair. Oh, this chair's so comfortable too. It's like several years old. And I could just nestle in this thing. You always notice I'm talking about sleeping. You notice that? That's because I don't. Okay. So let's talk about where we're going, what we're doing, what happened yesterday, building on that for today so we can get down to some serious business. What we were really looking for was a continuation of this. Here's yesterday. You want a continuation of this and just bury it down in. Remember the panic. If you guys are bullish and you want to buy stocks, you don't really want a bull market. You want pullbacks like this so you can actually buy stuff at a value rather than everybody stampeding over top of everyone. I talked about this before, like in a rant, where I said if you don't get a crash, millennials out there, when you were investing, you just started investing the last couple of years. If you didn't get a crash, you're overpaying. You need crashes and corrections to get good prices. That's what we all want, right? Gotta load up with coffee. Still got some time to go. So I like these to begin. Now here's what we don't see much of anymore. I don't know if it's a manipulation tactic or what it is, but the market always tries to squeeze its ass up there late at night while everyone's in bed. Makes you wonder who's trading at 2 in the morning. No, it's not pajama traders. There are no. It's algos. So what they did today was this little number. Just kind of walk you down here a little bit thinking, okay, now we're going to pull in here. Hits the support. Lines up a ton of great check marks. They turn around, they start running back up, and then when they peak out, they slow down, and I mean they instantly reverse, and we go on this mega washout. And the thing was, it was the leaders that you were looking at, things like NVIDIA,
Netflix. We talk about these big techs. They've been consuming every dip on this. Look at this. This was like a $20 haircut, right? $20 haircut in the middle of the day. This isn't even a $20 haircut. Yeah, I did this for free. You guys know that. But that's huge. I mean, that's big time and a big bounce here. I mean, this is mega volatility. Now, here's the issue that I have sometimes with this. At this kind of action, once it got going, there were tons of check marks. This is why I just mentioned there on the video, like hindsight's 20/20 and all this, drawing lines in the past. There are tons of check marks here, every single place. But I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I missed a lot of it. It's just too fast. Everything was moving so fast and so wide that by the time I saw it, boy, they were just moving. I mean, moving. Crazy moves in these stocks. So let's kind of go back to the SPY and talk about where we're going to go, what we're going to see here. I'm going to give it to you, and you probably already know. I want to see this market go lower tomorrow. We're sitting right here, the low of today, 278.96, right? You come over here, you'll look at this 278.96. We'll expose it a little bit bigger here on the chart. I still think we're bullish, and we need to stay more on the bullish side as long as we're trading above the 277s. I've highlighted this area before, but you go all the way back to this day right here, which is the 24th of April. But it's confirmed that bottom a few times. Actually, it was a little bit before that. It's held up to that, and it got down in there today, and it defended itself off of there as we speak. Now, unless we move under this and we close under this, we're probably going to trade down into this level of 271 if that does not hold. And that's where I kind of draw this short-term line in the sand. If we go underneath of that, I would be more inclined to say, okay, well, we might see some more pain. We'll have to start looking at some numbers a little bit deeper. But as long as it holds up in those areas, what you're seeing here is no different than what you were seeing 3 or 4 days ago. If we can block out the noise and take it away. And remember, I told you about this before, guys. I'm not preaching the bullish case. I'm just trying to block out the noise and think about what we're talking about before we get ahead of ourselves and think that every time there's a red or candle or something like that, we're going to roll over and go into a crash. I've been saying that ever since I started trading. It's 22 years in. It's like there's only been like 2 crashes. But it's not something that hasn't done. You look back here on the 20th. Right, 20th, 21st, you had a pullback for a couple days, got down, and it turns around and bounce. You come back over here on the 30th and the 1st, it does the same thing. You got to pull back into a moving average and bounce. Now, the difference here is we are trading under the 20 moving average, so it's a little bit more bearish, a little bit more aggression in the tape here, a little bit more violence coming into it. So here's what I want to see. Scenario number 1 for me would be to trade first thing down into this 278. I don't want to gap below that, right? I don't want it to open up right on that number either. This is big support, so I want to see it stay roughly right here, trade into that early, and confirm. This is what we want to look for too. We want to look for confirmation, and confirmation comes within consolidation. So, excuse me, when you're looking at something like this chart, how it tests a certain price over multiple periods of time is an indication to you that it's tightening up. It's consolidation, it's firming up, it's tightening up, it's perking, it's grinding, whatever you want to call it. It's testing price and letting you have the confidence to put money on the table, you know, backing up your convictions, whatever they may be. That's what technical analysis is to back up your convictions. So I'd like to see that happen right there, and I would be very interested in longing. In fact, I would be interested in longing if we even gap below that and just wash the hell out. Just whoop, cleaned house, right? Those would be my long scenarios. A fade into 278 and hold, a gap below that, and an immediate panic down somewhere towards the lower 270s. I would be very aggressive to the long side because I would think after 3 straight sell, I would be 3 days in a row there with some very aggressive action, that you're probably going to see, if nothing else, an immediate snapback. Now, scenario number 2, and this is why we don't like scenario number 2, but we have to prepare for it because it quite possibly could be a reality. And that's a gap up, because this market has it is a wacky way of doing this. So when I'm talking about this, look at these last couple of evenings here. It's just this damn thing keeps ramping up in the evening, taking away all of that value we keep talking about. And here's the other thing when I was talking about price and confirming price areas and shoring up in locations and giving you the confidence. The theory behind it is if you gap and start running tomorrow, how could you honestly look at that and say, I trust it? After 2 days of violent washouts in this market, after a humongous rally off of what a month ago the world was over, how all of a sudden can you have the conviction to just buy and chase these stocks? That's how you lose money. The prices haven't been tested. If that's the case, I have to look at shorting here. I mean, I have to start looking at some of these things thinking, all right, you know, the possibility exists that we might start seeing violent washouts. And if that's the case, we have got to switch the stance over to the shorts, because I made this mistake clear today. And I know a lot of other people talk about their mistakes because they always want to act like they're badass traders and they never make mistakes. And they're always good because they sell systems and stuff. You know, we all make freaking mistakes. You know, even when you don't think you make mistakes, you still make mistakes. And for a trader, I told you, you're always going back in there and you're always looking at things you did wrong, things you could have done better. Isn't that what life is all about? But I even announced it in the room. This is what benefits you get is, you know, you do as I say, not as I do. But I was sitting up here and some of these things have got so high. And I was like, well, these might be some good shorts. You can go around here and start shorting some of these up here towards the tops with stops at the top. You're giving up $1, $1.50 of risk. And you cannot normally trade Netflix or NVIDIA with $1, $1.50 risk in a lot of cases. Lately, you haven't been able to. So I'm like, that's pretty good reward. But you see, I hesitated on it because of the way stocks have behaved, that people keep buying the dips, especially in these techs. And if you look back, we've only been getting small pulls, and they've been getting squeezed right back up. So I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like scalping this thing for $1 1-to-1 reward. I'm not going to do it. But look what happened. Boy, was I ever wrong? How could I had no idea. And no one else did either. You don't have like a crystal ball. Someone can't technical analysis tell me, because I've been doing this for 2 decades. You can't see this technically. You can forecast a pullback. And this is why we always say as well, you got to take the trade, man. You see the setup, you got to take the trade. You don't know what it's going to get. You could look at this, and I said, yeah, it's a good trade idea. It's good risk to reward. But I had no clue. Nothing in this world's creation would have told you technical analysis says this is going to go to 428. That's bogus, because it doesn't say that. I would have said VWAP at best, if you're lucky, 444 to 442. It's probably what you're going to get. But, right, you never know. That's what I said. You never know. Because if I'd have put that in there, boy, what a day I'd have had, huh? $20 gainer? Oh, man. I'd have, like, bought Netflix subscription for everybody. Dang on. That's insane. So I want to look for that. The names don't change. I mean, you know, some of these didn't quite have this set up. But I will pass this on here because we always got Netflix, we always got NVIDIA, we always got Tesla, we always have Docu. I think these, right, Apple, put Apple in there. These are the relentless ones, the basket of relentless ones, because I'm telling you, these things have, they just keep going higher. And you can put AMD in that case. I'm not saying I know every stock is doing it, and these are the only stocks in the world. Because I mean, like a Docu here, you're talking about Docu's only down $1. You know, it's not even where it was 4 or 5 days ago. But you know, they all got hit right here, but it held up. It held up pretty well. But this ZM here, oh, sorry to yawn. This ZM is in another league. This thing is quickly becoming like the stock of the year for me. I cannot. Reminds me of the earlier days of trading Tesla, when Tesla was a little bit more manageable. And I say manageable because it didn't go up $62 a share every day. You know, as it approaches 1,000, it starts to act differently. And Google once was a good stock to trade, and it's like so thin now. But this thing, man, guys, it keeps finding a way higher. I know it defies logic. I know it makes no sense whatsoever. I know it has competitors. I mean, come on. You know, this is, you got to put that away. And when it comes to day trading, and if you told me I've got one stock I've got to stick with for now, I could delete everything else, it's going to be ZM. If you got to sit here and look at one thing, look at ZM. because you have every single thing you need in this stock. You have an abundance of range. You have an abundance of volume. You have abundance of speed. You can borrow shares easily. You can buy shares easily. You have a liquidity. This thing is a freaking stud. A stud. Man. I just chuckle. What a monster. What a monster. And there's still room to go. I mean, this is something that could roll to 200. So let's watch this one. As always, I don't do the if it confirms here, if it touches here, if it does that. That's all hypothetical. I'm just going to give you scenarios. I give you scenarios in market mutterings. You have to think of the scenario, plan A, plan B. You do this if plan A works. You do this as plan B. And it's simple. If this thing trades down into the 160s tomorrow, market craters, you give me 160, okay? I'm interested in buying. But let me go a little bit further with this, because just in say like it's at 160 and you guys decide to get up and buy, don't do that, okay? If it gaps down to 160, no. Let's first say it stays here, trades down to 160, yes. Because I've got 160 and I've got 155s as support, so I could work through the 5, okay? Now, if you happen to see something that's unnerving, maybe some news, or maybe the pace of the market is out of character. Out of character meaning something that you're used to, or something that's out of character for behavior, and it's just really cratering, you don't have to do it. Let it go, because maybe 155, but I would think it holds up between 155 tomorrow. It will hold 155 tomorrow, regardless of the market. 150 to 155, it will hold. So if you get down into that area, it becomes more of a buy, in my opinion. Other than that, you got to wait for a setup, wait for it to build a level, wait for it to create a level, and then trade it from there. Now, if it takes off and it starts ripping, it isn't a trade. And you got to watch out, because that's the only disappointment I have in this thing is half the time I miss it. When it has days like this right here, where it just opens up like this day. Like, look how many times out of the week here, this thing just jacks it up. And in today, you know, these were the only days that it didn't just blow right on the first candle. Like right here, it just jams, jam. That's the only time I don't like it. That's the only time I don't like it, because I don't want to buy it there. I don't want to buy it there. So hopefully that's the way. If not, then you got to look for something else, because I'm not interested in shorting this one. Like if I'm going to short, and I'll look at some things. I have some other fights I would like to pick, but I look at this angry gorilla, and I'm like, no, I don't want to mess with you when it comes to shorting. You can, but I don't want to do it. I think there's other stuff that have more. And I only say that just because other stocks have more potential to continue to roll over, where this one is just going to get fought tooth and nail, and I hate that. So let's watch this one here too. If we get that pressed down, I really would like that. So just to make this easy, you always got your names: ZM, Tesla, Netflix, NVIDIA, Docu, Peloton. You guys want to trade cheaper stocks? Peloton, AMD, I think are too good. And Peloton and AMD are really rangy $40 to $60 stocks. Great movements in there. I like those. You give me washes, you give me flushes, you give me panic in the morning. I'm going to look for the one that has the very best setup for right now, and that's the one I'm going to go with, looking for my check mark. We go parabolic, we go vertical, we get out of control to the upside. I'll have to let that digest for a second, but if we start to roll over and I think shorting is the way to go, my names for shorting are TWLO and W, Wayfair, which I have mentioned before. Those are my two stocks to look for short. I say that only because when I look at the overall extension of those, they are freaking nuts, right? Both great companies, got it. They're nuts. They need a lot of pullback. There's a lot more in that tank there for those two out of all the ones I'm seeing. You might even know one. So we'll go with that one. So anyway, guys, I'll wrap it up there. Let's see where we've got to hold this level. We've got to hold this level tomorrow. If we don't, we might start seeing some more downside. So we'll let it play out. As always, if you need help, visit linkedinlist.com. Start trading with us live. Till tomorrow, guys. Take care.